Welcome back to Understanding Philosophy, 150 Core Concepts. Today's journey takes us into a word we all use, but rarely question: belief. What does it really mean to believe something? Is it the same as knowing? Is it just guessing, or something deeper? From everyday thoughts like, I believe it will rain, to existential convictions like, I believe in justice, or I believe in God, belief is everywhere. It shapes our choices, our identities, even our relationships. But how solid are our beliefs? And where do they come from? In this episode, we'll explore belief as a philosophical concept, a psychological process, and a social force that binds, or breaks, the world we live in. We'll ask questions that reach beyond certainty. What separates belief from knowledge? Why do we trust some things without proof? And how does belief evolve, within us and between us? So, take a breath, suspend what you think you know, and let's explore what it really means to believe. Let's begin with something deceptively simple. What does it mean to believe something? Every day we use the word belief without much thought. I believe it might rain. I believe she's honest. I believe in love. But philosophers, especially epistemologists, those who study knowledge, know that belief is anything but simple. Belief sits in the space between certainty and ignorance. It's not knowing, but it's not guessing either. It's a state of holding something to be true, without claiming that it's proven beyond all doubt. Let's say you remember eating a toasted bagel for lunch. You can still feel the crumbs on your sweater. You believe you ate it. But how do you know for sure? Could it have been a dream? A hallucination? Unlikely, yes, but not impossible. In that case, you don't have knowledge in the philosophical sense. You have strong belief, grounded in evidence, memory, and experience. But still, belief. And here's the key. Belief does not require absolute proof. That's what makes it so human. Some beliefs are fragile, tentative, foggy, based on vague memory or hearsay. Do I believe my 7th birthday had a clown? Kind of. Maybe. Other beliefs are resilient, anchored in vivid experience or consistent data. But even the strongest belief isn't knowledge, not if it could still be wrong. And that's why philosophers care so much, because belief is where most of us live. We don't walk around claiming certainty. We walk around with trust, with assumptions, with hope. That's belief. Belief also stretches far beyond facts, into faith, into identity. I believe in God. I believe in justice. I believe people are fundamentally good. These are not claims we can verify with logic or laboratory tests. They live in the realm of existential commitment, of moral orientation. And here, belief becomes a matter of attachment to people, to institutions, to narratives about who we are. In this sense, belief is relational. It's built not just on evidence, but on trust, in others, in traditions, in ourselves. As the philosopher Kate Manne suggests, belief and trust are interwoven. You don't just believe something alone. You often believe because someone you trust believes. Belief, then, isn't merely intellectual. It's emotional. It's social. It's deeply human. So as we move forward, let's keep this in mind. Belief is not a failure of reason. It is the beginning of understanding. It reflects humility, a willingness to say, I don't know for sure, but I believe. Because in that space between doubt and certainty, in that space of belief, we find room for wonder, for connection, and for meaning. Belief doesn't form in a vacuum. It doesn't arrive like lightning from the sky. Most of what we believe, we inherit. From our families, our cultures, our schools, our sacred texts. And that brings us to a powerful force at the heart of belief: authority. For much of human history, belief was not a private matter. It was collective. What you believed wasn't just about you. It was about where you belonged. In medieval Europe, to believe outside the church's teachings wasn't just heresy, it was treason. And even today, in many places around the world, what you believe determines whether you're seen as trustworthy, respectable, even human. But here's the tension. Is belief truly ours if it was handed down, rather than chosen? The 4th century philosopher Augustine of Hippo believed that faith begins in trust. You trust the authority of others, your parents, your teachers, your spiritual guides. And only through this trust can belief take root. He wasn't entirely wrong. After all, none of us can verify every fact ourselves. We must trust others. And yet, when does trust become obedience? And when does obedience become blindness? Belief becomes dangerous, not when it's deep, but when it becomes closed, when it stops being questioned. This is where the 16th century mystic Teresa of Ávila offered a softer alternative. For her, belief wasn't about fear of authority. It was about love, about surrendering, not to dogma, but to a presence beyond the ego. Her faith was emotional, spiritual, relational. And in that, she showed how belief could also be healing. But belief doesn't have to be religious to rely on authority. Think of science. Most of us believe in gravity, in evolution, in quantum physics. But how many of us have actually read the proofs? We trust scientists, just as we once trusted priests, just as we now trust influencers, commentators, and algorithms. That's not a flaw. It's a fact of human life. We are not solitary minds. We are social minds. And belief is shaped by the company we keep. But here's the real philosophical challenge. Can we believe authentically while still standing within community? Can we question authority without dissolving trust? Can we believe not because we must, but because we mean it? Belief, when honest, is not weakness. It is a posture of humility, a relationship between self and world, between knowing and not knowing. And when grounded in love, in reflection, in courage, belief becomes a force that connects, uplifts, and transforms. Every belief carries a shadow, and that shadow is called doubt. To believe something is to open yourself to the possibility that you might be wrong. And that's not weakness, it's strength. You see, the most dangerous beliefs aren't the ones we know are incomplete. It's the ones we hold with such certainty. We no longer allow ourselves to question them. Philosopher Julian of Norwich once said, "All shall be well, and all shall be well, and all manner of things shall be well." But even she wrestled with despair, suffering, and theological uncertainty. Her belief wasn't naive. It was forged through fear. Real belief isn't untouched by doubt. It is shaped by it. Imagine belief as a glass sculpture, beautiful, fragile, refracting light. We carry it through life, and when it cracks, it doesn't mean we've failed. It means the light can now pass through it differently. Some beliefs we outgrow, some we bury, some we return to, older, wiser, less certain, but more aware. The 21st century philosopher Kate Manne reminds us, belief is often built in relation to others, but it can also be tested by them. When someone challenges your belief, do you shut down or do you listen? Do you armor up or open the door to revision? Belief, if it is living, must also be willing to change. So here's the truth philosophers offer. You don't need to erase doubt to believe. You just need the courage to live with both, to let them dance. Because between belief and doubt is where we grow, where we reach, where we become more human. Belief is not the opposite of questioning. It is the invitation to keep asking while still finding the strength to move forward. So ask, doubt, reflect, believe again, and know this: a belief that has never been tested is a belief that has never truly lived. Thank you for exploring the nature of belief with me. We've journeyed through logic and faith, trust and doubt, fragility and strength, all held within this one powerful word. Remember, belief isn't about having all the answers. It's about having the courage to ask the questions and still keep going. If this episode gave you something to think about, share it with someone who questions, who wonders, who believes. Subscribe to The Great Unknown for more insights, and I'll see you in the next episode. As we uncover another essential idea in philosophy, imply. Until then, stay curious.